Hey guys, it's David from Idiot's Guide to Everything. Today we're going to do the 1.5 overview of the Division. We're going to go over the patch notes, we're going to do a little FAMAS review, we're even going to sit down with my brother, JC, and Brett, and we're going to talk about the survival game mode. So sit down, strap in, and check it out. Like I said in the intro, we're going to do a brief overview of the patch notes, starting off with World Tier 5. It was added for the gear score 230 and above because the new gear score is now 256. All NPCs in that level are 34, and heroic incursions are now available for Tier 5 only. That meaning your Falcon Lost, your Clear Skies, and your Dragon's Nest are all going to be available to get that 256 gear at Tier 5 only. Moving on to weapons, we have a whole slew of new weapons as usual per patch. Starting off with the MG5 and its variants, the FAMAS Auto Rifle that you will have a review very shortly, the Model 700 Marksman Rifle, the USC/UMP and its variants, and the Rhino Pistol, which is a revolver, high ends being the Golden Rhino, the Urban MDR Assault Rifle, which is the Blind Rifle, formerly known as the Tommy Gun, and the Thompson 1928. Moving right along, little highlights on the gameplay changes for 1.5. Enemy armor damage is now a major bonus instead of a minor bonus. It can roll on backpacks, masks, knee pads, holsters, and gear mods. Hipfire accuracy has been reduced for LMGs and submachine guns. Hipfire also has different recoil strengths and patterns while aiming down sights for all different weapon archetypes now. There's lowered strength for auto aim for shotgun, lowered the effect of the accuracy stat of shotguns, and also you increase the base magazine size of the Vector from 20 to 25. Next up, we're going to talk about my favorite gun from 1.5, so far at least, is the FAMAS. It is a assault rifle, in this game at least. It is a fully automatic, even though in some games it is different. It is a assault rifle, so with it you get the armor damage, and with this one you get 20%. It is a 900 round per minute, which is the LVOA-C archetype, a 30 round magazine, which is pretty standard. Moving on to the perks, though, you have Unforgiving, which increases your armor destruction by 15%. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. Again, perk 2, Unforgiving. Missing health increases damage according to segments missing, 10% for one segment and 25 for two. Moving on to that third perk, you have that special FAMAS perk, Uncomplicated. Damage is increased by 15%. Accuracy and stability mods reduce this. And going into the mods, you'll actually see that I don't have a single accuracy or stability mod because I do want to get the most out of the gun and get the most out of that Uncomplicated perk. Using everything besides these things, you'll get that 50% extra. So you have like your crit chance, your headshot damage, your rate of fire, reload speed, all that stuff. So it's just a good looking gun. Like, you can put any camo on this thing and it looks great. That bullpup design, and you can even put a suppressor on it like I do, and if you can make it work, it looks fucking gorgeous. And now we're going to head down to the range to check out all the stats and stuff, do some side-by-side comparison. It is good to notice that I am using 256 gear because I am max gear level, using a mixture of Reclaimer and Final Measure. So now that we're down at the range, you can see that the recoil of the gun is nothing to be too surprised at. It goes from chest to head pretty straight up. There's no left or right sway, so that's a really good thing with this higher rate of fire gun. As for damage, you have something that's pretty straightforward too. You have 15k non-crit to chest, 20k crit to the chest. For the head, though, you have 31k non-crit and 37k crit. Now, if you look at the side-by-side comparison of that Uncomplicated perk with the accuracy and stability mods, you'll see that the ones without those accuracy and stability mods actually do substantially more damage. I think it's like a 15k difference, but you're going to get a lot more out of it if you can use that Uncomplicated perk to your advantage. And like I said, this is the FAMAS. It's my favorite gun at 1.5, and I just wanted you guys to check it out. So I think next we're going to move on to the survival overview itself. So check it out. Okay, and this part of 1.5, I want to talk about the survival game mode, which is pretty much the largest chunk of it. It was introducing this game mode where you get put into a blizzard situation where you're like torn of your equipment, and you have to literally get to the dark, like craft some items, get gear, get to the dark zone, get antivirals, and extract. But obviously there's more hurdles than just going to do that. So that's what I wanted to get to in this part. And to help me do that is going to be Brett and JC, who are a Drunk Yeti and Crystal Ninja on Xbox, and who I have some clips on here with. I just wanted to...
Got it.
So, starting off, I just wanted to see what you guys' first impressions were with the game mode. Brett?
Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really hard thing, I just couldn't, because I started replaying this game all over again, and then I got used to the gear and weapons I had. And in this game mode, you start out with jack shit. You literally have nothing but your sidearm. You have like bare minimum armor, so you have like nothing. You're super squishy.
You have to worry about the cold, which pisses me off the most, is the cold.
I don't mind that. It brings the survival aspect into it. I like how they have the hunger and thirst and aspect in it also to make you really have to scavenge for certain things, especially if you're playing by yourself.
Well, by yourself, it's easy, because you can be hoarding. When you're with a group, it's a lot harder, because you have to actually, like, not screwing over this person. We all want to get to the same place and get out, but we found 3 painkillers, and you're only giving me 1, and there's 3 people, and it's like you have to like evenly.
You kind of got to balance out everybody's time for survival, which is a big piece there.
Because
what we found out was
I like that they actually give you a timer though, because they can just like fuck you and kill you, but no, they actually
it gives you a timer, and it stops or slows down depending on what you're collecting between the antivirus and the painkiller, which is nice. But the problem is as a team, you got to kind of select who gets what, so you balance everybody out.
I mean, that's also where the craftables menus come in, because if you can't pick up certain things, like if you can't find clothes at least, you can craft them with the fabrics that you find, because there's abundance of like materials, like electronics, weapons parts, fabrics and stuff, which is nice.
Which is another thing you have to do is if you have somebody who's picking up really good jackets or clothes, you kind of give the other people, push them towards the craftable stuff so they can craft their stuff to be better.
And also, like, that's also, like, once you get later in towards, like, you're getting ready to go into the dark zone, or you're in the dark zone, curbing your, if you have, like, an excess amount of fabric or something, I always usually, instead of making more gear, I usually curb towards getting better clothes, because once you get to a certain point in, like, your heat, like, your cold resistance, you don't have to have heat.
Yeah, you
which is super useful, because you don't have to look for a fire bill, you don't have to freeze to death.
And you can literally ambush people at the same time, too. You don't have to pick your battles as choosy, because, am I going to freeze? Am I not going to freeze? You can ambush easier.
Yeah, and it actually makes you choose your battles a lot more. Like,
yeah, like, do I have the time to do this before I literally freeze to death?
Or even if you're like still kind of like short on supplies, you can hit a gold like tank, and you're like, oh god, running in the other direction.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, oh god, I don't have a fire right behind me, but I can run back behind me now because I'm sustaining.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where the farther you get into it, the less you want to take these battles, because you want to be like, okay, let's get in, let's get out. And also, once you get into the dark zone, that's a whole different gameplay.
Yeah, because your enemies become super powered.
Yeah, they're stronger enemies still, but you're also playing for keeps then, because you're trying to get to the antivirals and get out, but you also can open up boxes to get caches to take out of the game and have actual gear for your character. So that's where it plays for keeps.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing that would be a little bit more helpful is if you saw more weapons that would be useful. I do like how you progressively get better gear as you go through, such as you start green and then you work your way up in a color-wise.
That's something that we learned in a group, though. Like, prioritize when you're getting gear to one person, because if they get a higher rarity, then all the things that either they drop or get will be a higher rarity.
Yeah, I remember you were kind of higher up.
You guys actually got really frustrated at me. Because you guys didn't understand that. But
he's fucking taking everything. What is happening?
Yeah, I got all blues first.
Fucking
but then as soon as I started hitting all blues, I started getting blue weapons and purples. And then as soon as I got more purples, and then everybody started getting purples. And everybody started
because it's nice. You open up the cash boxes, and it would kind of reward all of us at the same time. Because it'd be like, oh, I already have this purple weapon. JC, take this AK.
Well, originally it was like, okay, now that I can get better weapons, now it's like, okay, who has 2 weapons? Who has 2 weapons? Who has like certain gear? And then you can share your like things you pick up except for clothes. So you have to be like, okay, I don't need this hat, but you need this scarf. So like you can be like, you have to like pick and choose that way too. Yeah. Like that's the only thing that you couldn't share, because you can share weapons, gear, and consumables. So like the only thing that you're really kind of like apprehensive about mostly is
that's a big thing also that I think a lot of people who play in groups kind of need to remember also is that when you do have something, it doesn't matter if you need it or not. If you have space for it, pick it up, because it doesn't mean that your buddy down the road is going to need it. Oh, I need a painkiller. I remember towards the end of our play, I didn't have any painkillers or anything left. Brett's like, oh, I got an extra painkiller here.
And then you learn, like, if you have, like, medicine, is like, you stab yourself with all the medicine as possible, because that stops it altogether.
Completely.
Like, so that because you start out, when we say stop the infection, like, it gives you sepsis. You're in a helicopter crash, you have sepsis, you have to slow that down, get in, get out. And also, I noticed playing solo, it's a lot easier to control all of these things, because like I said, you can hoard. You can have everything to yourself. And I found myself, I'll put the clip up now, of a very weird moral obligation, I guess I had. There's a guy, they still have those contaminated zones like they do in the single player campaign in the city. Like, you have to have a certain virus filter level. So I built an advanced filter already, and I noticed a guy had died in there. So I'm like, do I revive him with one of my med kits, or do I kill him and take his stuff? I started to revive him, but then stopped and killed him. It was a moral obligation. Like, maybe he'll help me, but then you can't be like, hey, maybe he just
because he might screw you.
But at the same time, he could get up and blast you. You know.
Yeah, it was a very unique moral situation, because I'm like, I really feel bad for this guy because he didn't know that it was a contaminated zone, but it was also like, well, damn, now this betters me, and it helped me in the long run, yes, but I'm like, I just really want a friend, because you can't physically do this without overpowered weapons by yourself, and you don't have enough time to accumulate that much stuff. So like, groups, you have the generosity of having the other people there, so once you all get geared up, it's easier to take on like the extraction, because the extraction is obviously our hardest part. Me and Brett have only gotten out once, and I've died solo and in a group multiple times.
Honestly, that's the only thing I don't like about it, is how difficult the extraction is. What's it take? 3 minutes?
But my biggest thing
3 minutes 45 seconds, I believe.
My biggest thing with the extraction is I think they kind of bank on you having other people around that get to the point where you're at.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean your group. It means other people, especially if you're not playing if you're playing PvE and not PvP. They're expected, oh, well, okay, these people are getting towards the end of the game. There should be other people that are coming towards the end of the game waiting for that extraction.
But they give them, it's the same thing, like, if you vaguely play certain parts of, like, incursions or later missions, they have these things called division hunters. That's what comes down and tries to stop you. It's essentially, if you're in the dark zone in the normal game, the people that you're fighting against. So they have turrets, they have heals, they have
everything you can have.
Essentially. Yeah. So it makes them super annoying, but it also makes it that thing, like, you can't really pick this battle. You have to get out.
You have to survive the battle.
You have to survive.
And they keep spawning too.
Because the very first one I played, I died immediately, and then the first one we played together, me and Brett, we got out, but Brett got downed, and then there was a group of other people, and I think the only reason why we got out, because there was a second group there.
Yeah.
But also that second group tried to screw us, because Brett got downed, and they could have picked him up, but they didn't.
The guy literally sat next to me, waited for me to die to try to take.
And I was like low on health, so I'm like, just give me a second, Brett. He's like, you're just gonna let me die. Like, it's not okay.
It's like, help me, David.
But then every time after that, like, it just got to, like, we had really bad strings of luck, like, personally and in a group. Like, we just got bad luck. Like, I threw a grenade and I fucked myself.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That would have changed the whole game for us, because it would have stunned them long enough to where we could have been.
Instead, I stunned myself and got myself killed.
Us in general.
But that's pretty much.
I think another thing that you kind of got to remember in this game also is, you taught me this also, is the fact that you got to know your areas and where to look and the places to be. You learn that through experience.
Yeah, like, one thing I noticed from playing so much of the beta, playing so much of the game, and having everything done, like, depending on where you're on the map, I know exactly where all the open doors are, where all the closed drops are, where all that stuff is. So, like, if I'm anywhere on the east side of the map, I find myself at a disadvantage. On the west side of the map, I find myself at a greater advantage, because I'm like, okay, I know this place has 2 closed. I know this place has like a bunch of like crates and stuff. But wrapping up, I actually really enjoy everything that the Division's been doing. The 2 DLC packs that they've had have been vastly different. And coming into the almost up on a year for them, they have one more DLC planned for the Season Pass. I'm super excited about where they're going with it, because it's called Endgame or something. It's something to do with like the end or something like that. And if it's anything like the first 2, it's going to be vastly different and bring a whole new flavor to the game.
Yeah, it's going to feel like a whole new game. Exactly what this did.
They've done that in the last 3 DLCs. They gave you like
the updates themselves with the new gear sets and stuff have been great.
Well, yeah, but the new DLCs, it gave you like that MMO feel in the beginning. The first DLC they dropped with the Underground. With this one,
the Underground made it feel like
you were doing great.
It was Diablo.
Yep. And then now you got this whole thing where you're doing this survival piece,
and it made it feel like H1Z1. It's adding different games and their best things in different games, and bringing it into this game, which is great, because I love the feel of this game. I love Tom Clancy games. They've always held a special place in my heart.
Tom Clancy's one of my favorite authors.
I know, like it's one of those things where it's firing on all cylinders, and I hope that this thrives for as long as possible because I do enjoy the game. And even though certain people like Brett don't always play it all the time, like they're still finding enjoyment in it.
Yeah. I picked it back up after a few months, and I enjoyed it. It feels like a brand new game.
Well, I thank you guys both for coming in and talking to me about this, and this has been the 1.5 overview. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and come back here for all your guys' reviews and gameplays. I'll see you guys later.
Peace out, my dudes.
Hey guys, welcome to this will be our second guide.